Hi, I'm Alex, and this is the story of how my sister tried to erase me from her wedding. When I arrived, I knew I didn't belong. The stares, the whispers, the way my name wasn't even included on the invitation. Only my son's. But nothing could have prepared me for the moment I saw my seat card. Single mother, waitress. That's all I was to them. Not a sister, not family. Just a reminder of what they thought was my failure. And as if that humiliation wasn't enough, my sister, standing in front of hundreds of guests, offered me the honor of serving at her wedding. I swallowed the humiliation, for my son's sake. But what happened next? That was something none of them expected. Because while I stayed silent, my son didn't. I walked into my tiny apartment, exhaustion weighing on me like a lead blanket. The scent of brewed coffee still clung to my uniform from the cafe, a constant reminder of the long hours I put in just to keep a roof over our heads. Dropping my purse onto the worn-out couch, I rubbed my temples, preparing myself for another evening of bills, homework, and whatever last-minute crisis an 8-year-old could cook up. Then, I saw it. A pristine white envelope sat on my counter, gold lettering shimmering in the dim light. My fingers hesitated before picking it up. The last time I'd received anything from my sister, Celeste, was a lawyer's notice when she helped my ex-husband Dorian fight for more custody. I exhaled sharply and flipped the envelope over. The elegant script read, Mr. Dorian Whitmore and Ezekiel Langford. That knot in my stomach tightened. My name wasn't there. It wasn't a mistake. Celeste never made mistakes. Mom! Zeke's voice pulled me from my thoughts as he ran into the kitchen, tossing his backpack onto the chair. What's that? I forced a smile. Your aunt's getting married. His eyes lit up. Are we going? I swallowed. The last thing I wanted was to be anywhere near Celeste, Dorian, or Vivian. But I knew what Zeke wanted. To see his father. Yeah, baby, I murmured. We're going. The Grand Heights Hotel towered above us, its gold-framed doors gleaming under the city lights. Zeke bounced on his toes beside me, his excitement a sharp contrast to the sinking weight in my chest. I adjusted my dress, a simple navy blue piece that I had worn to job interviews and the occasional parent-teacher conference. It wasn't designer, but it was clean and pressed, and that was good enough. Inside, the ballroom was breathtaking, gleaming chandeliers, floral arrangements worth more than my rent, and guests in gowns and tuxedos that screamed wealth. A woman at the reception table glanced at my name before giving me a once-over, her expression barely masking her distaste. You're over there, she said, nodding toward the farthest table in the room. I gritted my teeth and walked forward, keeping my hand on Zeke's shoulder. As we approached our table, I felt my stomach drop. Other guests had name tags with elegant titles. Grayson family, Whitmore family. Mine? Single mother, waitress. And my son's? Single mother's child. My chest tightened. I reached out, flipping Zeke's card over before he could see it, but I was too late. His small brows furrowed. Mom, what does that mean? Nothing, sweetheart, I said, my voice calm. Just a joke. But it wasn't a joke. It was a message. I barely had time to sit before Celeste swept over, the picture of Grace in her designer gown. She smiled, a sharp, predatory thing. Oh, Alex! You made it! Her voice dripped with fake warmth. I wasn't sure if you'd feel comfortable here. I smiled back, just as fake. Wouldn't miss it. Vivian, Dorian's mother, approached, her jewelry glinting in the dim light. I'm shocked you showed up, she said with a smirk. I thought you'd be too busy waiting tables. I clenched my jaw. They wanted me to react, to snap, to yell, to storm out. I wouldn't give them the satisfaction. Mom, Zeke whispered, tugging my sleeve. Can we leave? Before I could answer, the microphone screeched and Celeste's voice filled the ballroom. Before we begin, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge a very special guest tonight. My blood ran cold. Everyone, my sister Alexandra, is here with us. She's always been hardworking. She's a waitress, after all. Laughter rippled through the crowd. Celeste smirked, feeding off the attention. Since you're experienced, why not help serve the guests? It'd be a waste of talent otherwise. The room erupted in laughter. I gripped my glass so tightly I thought it might shatter. My vision blurred at the edges, but I forced my breathing to stay even. Zeke's small fingers curled into my arm. He was shaking. I wanted to scream, to grab my son and storm out of this place, to tell Celeste exactly what kind of person she was in front of her perfect, hand-picked audience. But I didn't. Instead, I smiled. Slowly, deliberately. I took a sip of water and set my glass down with perfect composure. The laughter died down. The guests shifted awkwardly, sensing something was off. Celeste's smug grin faltered. She expected me to break. I wouldn't. Zeke turned to me, his voice barely above a whisper. "Mom!" He looked up at me, confusion clouding his bright eyes. "Why do they hate you so much?" "Because, sweetheart," I whisper, squeezing his hand. "Some people can't stand seeing others rise after they tried to break them." Zeke stares at me, his small brows furrowed in thought. I can almost see the wheels turning in his head, trying to make sense of something no child should have to understand. The waiter sets a glass of orange juice in front of him, and for a brief moment, it's just us. Just a mother and her son, sharing a quiet moment in a sea of judgmental whispers and polished cruelty. But the weight of Celeste's words still lingers, thick in the air, like the scent of oversprayed perfume and expensive champagne. I take a deep breath, steadying myself. We just have to get through the night. Celeste's voice drips with saccharine sweetness as she approaches again, her designer gown shimmering under the ballroom lights. "Alex, I insist. You should help serve. You're used to it, after all." Laughter ripples through the crowd again, sharper this time, the kind that cuts deep. I keep my expression neutral, my fingers curling into my lap. "Come on, Celeste," I murmur, barely sparing her a glance. "At least be creative with your insults." She feigns a gasp, placing a manicured hand over her chest. "Oh, darling, you wound me. I was just trying to make you feel useful. I mean, God knows you don't fit in here." Zeke grips his glass tightly, his little knuckles turning white. Vivian chuckles beside Celeste, swirling her wine. "Celeste, dear, let's not embarrass the poor girl too much. She already does a fine job embarrassing herself." A familiar voice joins them. "Let's not make this a scene." Dorian. He stands just a few feet away, one hand casually in his pocket, the other holding a drink. He's smirking. My stomach twists. This is what they do. They attack like a pack of wolves, knowing I'm alone, knowing I have no one to back me up. I glance at Zeke. Number I have him, and I won't let them ruin tonight for him. I exhale through my nose and look back at Celeste. "I appreciate the offer," I say, voice steady, "but I think I'll stick to my seat. Wouldn't want to outshine the bride." Her smile tightens, but she doesn't push further. Not yet. I should have known better than to think it was over. The whispers start slow, drifting through the crowd like a spreading infection. "I heard she scammed men for money before becoming a waitress. Gold digger, apparently. That's why her ex-husband left her." My spine stiffens. Zeke's fork clatters onto his plate. "That's not true!" His voice is small but firm, cutting through the noise. Celeste gasps theatrically, placing a hand over her mouth. "Oh dear, these rumors are terrible, aren't they? But you know what they say. Where there's smoke, there's fire." Dorian takes a slow sip of his champagne. He doesn't deny it. I turn to him, my blood running ice cold. "Really, Dorian? You're just going to sit there and let them say that?" He shrugs, as if none of this is his problem. "I don't control what people believe." Zeke looks up at me, eyes wide with confusion and hurt. I place a hand over his, steadying him, steadying myself. Celeste tilts her head, faux concern dripping from her voice. "Oh, Alex, don't be so sensitive. It's just harmless fun." I meet her gaze, cold and unflinching. "Enjoy your night, Celeste." She blinks, caught off guard by my calmness. Zeke looks between us, something shifting in his expression. He sees it now. Celeste isn't just being mean. She's cruel. And for the first time, I think he understands. I take a deep breath, choosing my words carefully. Because, Zeke, some people can't stand losing to someone they think is beneath them. Zeke frowns, his small hands gripping the edge of the table. But you never lost to Aunt Celeste. I let out a soft chuckle, though there's no humor in it. Exactly. For the first time, I see something shift in his expression. Not just hurt, not just confusion. He's questioning things now. He's realizing that the world isn't always fair, that people like Celeste don't need a real reason to hurt others. I wish I could shield him from this, but I can't. The night drags on, filled with the hum of conversation and the clinking of crystal glasses. I force myself to engage in small talk with the few people who still have the decency to acknowledge me, but my mind is elsewhere. Zeke excuses himself to go to the restroom, and I remind him not to wander. I watch him disappear into the hallway, unaware that he's about to uncover something that will change everything. On his way back, Zeke slows his steps, his ears picking up voices coming from a half-open door leading to a side lounge. He recognizes them instantly, Celeste and Dorian. He freezes, something inside him telling him to keep listening. Celeste laughs, her voice dripping with mockery. She still acts like she belongs here. God, it's pathetic. Dorian chuckles. She always did have that stubborn streak, but at least we get to watch her squirm. Zeke's small fists tighten. He knows they're talking about me. Then Celeste's voice lowers, but Zeke hears every word. The best part? Matt has no idea I'm pregnant with your child. Zeke's breath catches in his throat. He doesn't move. He doesn't breathe. Did he hear that right? His father? And Aunt Celeste? His stomach turns. His hands start shaking. The voices continue, but the words blur together in his mind. Zeke stumbles back, his heart pounding in his chest. If I tell her, will she even believe me? Zeke's head spins as he grips the sides of his jeans, trying to steady himself. This is huge. Bigger than anything he's ever had to deal with. He wants to run straight to me, to blurt it out. But what if Celeste and Dorian lie? What if they twist the truth like they always do? He needs proof. His small fingers wrap around the phone in his pocket. His birthday gift from Dorian. His hands are shaking as he pulls it out. He presses record. The screen glows in the dim hallway as he captures the betrayal unfolding behind that door. His father's voice, casual and careless. Celeste's laughter, full of malice. It's all there. Zeke grips the phone tightly as he whispers, I won't let them hurt Mom anymore. As Zeke carefully sneaks back to the ballroom, his heart pounds in his chest. He has proof. But what now? He slips his phone into his pocket, his fingers still trembling from what he just heard. The laughter, the arrogance, the outright betrayal. It replays in his mind like a broken record. He glances up, searching the crowd until his eyes land on Celeste. She's smiling, laughing effortlessly as if she hasn't just destroyed lives. Zeke's stomach twists. She's lying to everyone. Matt stands beside her, oblivious, raising a toast while Celeste clings to his arm. Dorian is just a few feet away, talking with guests, looking composed, like a man with nothing to hide. Zeke clenches his jaw. They're all pretending. He turns toward our table, his gaze locking onto me. I'm sitting there, holding my posture firm despite the whispers that swirl around me. I force a smile at a passing guest, even though I know exactly what they're saying. Not yet, Zeke whispers to himself. I need the right moment. His hands are still shaking when he pulls out his phone again. He steps behind a marble column, his heart hammering as he presses play. The voices are unmistakable. Celeste's laughter, Dorian's smug tone. And then the words that make his stomach turn all over again. Matt has no idea I'm pregnant with your child. Zeke swallows hard, forcing himself to listen. Dorian barely even hesitates before replying. Timing is everything, Celeste. Don't screw this up. It's all there. The proof. His fingers tighten around the phone. He has to show me. But when? He peeks out from behind the column and sees me sitting stiffly at the table, my hands resting on the linen cloth, my jaw tight. Guests still murmur, throwing sidelong glances in my direction. He knows I've heard the whispers. Zeke's fingers hover over the screen. He could walk up right now, hand me the phone, and let me hear it for myself. But something inside him tells him to wait. Not here. Not like this. I barely have a moment to breathe before a familiar presence blocks my path. Vivian Whitmore. She stands before me like a statue, poised, elegant, and cold. Her eyes flick over my dress, with thinly veiled disdain, before she offers a smile that never touches her eyes. "Let's make this simple, dear," she says, voice smooth as silk. I exhale slowly. "Oh, I doubt anything with you is ever simple." Her smile twitches, but she recovers. Slowly, deliberately, she reaches into her clutch, pulling out a crisp checkbook. She flicks it open, scribbles something down, and then tears the check out with a practiced motion. She holds it up between two fingers, like an afterthought. 50,000, she says coolly. Enough to start over somewhere else. A fresh beginning. I stare at her, unblinking. "You want me to leave Chicago?" My voice is even, but my fingers curl into my dress beneath the table. "I want you to be smart." Her tone is clipped, impatient. "Take the money, move somewhere new, and don't look back." I let out a slow, bitter laugh. "And if I say no?" Her lips press together in something resembling sympathy. "You won't like the alternative." I take the check between my fingers, staring at the number scrawled in elegant ink. $50,000. I fold it in half, then again. Then, slowly, I rip it in half. Vivian's expression doesn't change, but I see the flicker of something dark in her eyes. I drop the torn pieces at her feet. "I don't take bribes, not from you." She tilts her head slightly, her smile sharpening. "You'll regret this." I match her gaze, unflinching. "I doubt that." Vivian exhales through her nose, smoothing the front of her gown, as if I'm not worth the effort of a reaction. She steps over the torn check without another word and walks away. I watch her go, my pulse steady. When I return to the table, Zeke is already there, watching me closely. He clenches his phone in his small hand. He knows what he has to do next. Zeke glances at me, his little fists clench so tightly around his phone that his knuckles turn white. I don't notice. I'm too focused on keeping my head high, pretending the stares and whispers don't pierce through me like needles. He looks past me, his gaze landing on the microphone at the front of the ballroom. His breath comes fast and shallow, but he's already made his decision. I won't say anything, but he will. His small legs move before he can think twice. The hum of conversation in the ballroom starts to die down as Zeke steps toward the stage. A waiter pauses mid-step, hesitating as if unsure whether to intervene. No one expects an 8-year-old to be part of the night's entertainment. Celeste's laughter carries through the room, the sound syrupy and false. "Oh, I just adore how children always find a way to insert themselves where they don't belong." Zeke doesn't stop. My head snaps up just as the microphone crackles. "Enough!" His voice is small, but the weight behind it brings the entire room to a standstill. I push back my chair so fast it scrapes against the floor, but I'm frozen. Zeke grips the microphone with both hands, his face set in hard determination. "Stop making fun of my mom!" A stunned silence falls over the ballroom. The chandeliers above seem to hum louder in the quiet. I can't move. Celeste's smirk twitches, faltering for just a second before she forces a light laugh. "Oh, sweetheart, we're just having fun. You don't need to be so serious." Zeke shakes his head. "No, you're not." His voice is steady. "You've never been nice to my mom. Ever." A murmur ripples through the guests. Glasses are lowered. Someone clears their throat. I see Matt's brows furrow as he looks at Celeste. Vivian's lips press into a thin line. "Zeke, darling, let's not ruin such a beautiful night." Zeke doesn't flinch. He doesn't even blink. "You ruined it first." His small hands reach into his pocket, My breath catches. He pulls out his phone, holding it up for the room to see. His thumb hovers over the screen. Celeste's entire body stiffens. I see it in the way her shoulders go rigid, in the way her fingers tighten around the stem of her champagne glass. Zeke's finger trembles above the play button. For the first time all night, Celeste looks afraid. The ballroom is completely silent as Zeke lifts the phone toward the microphone. "Let's see what you really think, Aunt Celeste." A few muffled whispers ripple through the crowd, but most guests remain frozen in place. Champagne glasses hover mid-air, forks suspended inches from plates. Every eye is on Zeke. He doesn't hesitate. He presses play. The sound crackles through the speakers, and then, Celeste's unmistakable voice fills the room. "The best part? Matt has no idea I'm pregnant with your child." The words hang in the air like a slow-motion disaster. A single gasp breaks the silence. Someone knocks over a glass. But nothing is louder than the suffocating tension that grips the room. My heart pounds as I watch Celeste go deathly pale. Matt, standing beside her, doesn't move, doesn't blink. The recording continues. "Timing is everything, Celeste." "Don't screw this up." Dorian's voice. A single sentence, but enough to destroy everything. Matt's champagne flute slips from his fingers, shattering against the floor. The sound is deafening against the silence. He turns, slowly, his face void of expression. His voice is eerily calm. "What did I just hear?" Celeste stammers, her carefully practiced poise unraveling before our eyes. "Matt, I can explain." But Dorian stays silent. He doesn't even try to deny it, because he knows. It's over. Matt shakes his head, as if trying to wake up from a nightmare. "Tell me it's not true." His voice wavers. "Tell me this is some kind of sick joke." Celeste swallows hard. It's not what it sounds like." A bitter laugh escapes Matt's lips. "It sounds like you're carrying my brother-in-law's child." The murmur among the guests swells into something sharper, more damning. Dorian finally exhales, rubbing a hand down his face. "Matt." But Matt's already taken a step back. "Don't." Celeste reaches for his arm, but he pulls away so fast she stumbles. "You lied to me," he breathes, his hands shaking. "Our entire relationship, you lied." Celeste's lip quivers, but for once she doesn't have a quick-witted response. Vivian suddenly surges forward, as if she can still salvage what's left. "This is ridiculous. That recording could be fake." Zeke doesn't even blink. "Then let's ask Aunt Celeste." All eyes turn back to Celeste, whose mouth opens, but nothing comes out. Her eyes dart around the room, searching for an escape, for someone to save her. Matt steps closer, his voice lower now. "Tell me the truth, Celeste." She doesn't answer. "Right now." Her lips part, but the only thing that comes out is a shuddering breath, because she knows there's nothing left to say. The walls are closing in. The perfect life she curated is collapsing, and no one, not even Vivian, can stop it. Matt inhales sharply, shaking his head. Then, without another word, he reaches for his left hand and rips off his wedding ring. It clatters against the floor, rolling to a stop at Celeste's feet. "We're done," he says. Celeste gasps. "Matt, wait!" But he's already walking away. Dorian takes a step toward the exit, but a guest deliberately blocks his path. Someone else scoffs under their breath. Unbelievable. Celeste falls to her knees, a broken sob tearing from her throat. Vivian glares at me, her composure finally cracking. "You did this." I don't flinch. I meet her gaze head-on. "No, Vivian." I exhale, my voice steady, unwavering. "Your family did this to themselves." Matt turns to me, his voice raw. "You knew, didn't you?" I meet Matt's gaze, my expression unreadable. "I suspected. But now you know the truth." His jaw tightens, the weight of betrayal settling over him like an anchor. Celeste is still frozen, her face pale, her body rigid as if she can stop time itself and undo what's already been said. But the damage is done. Then she moves. With a desperate sob, Celeste lunges forward, grasping at Matt's hand. "Please, Matt," she gasps, her fingers clinging to him. "I made a mistake, but I love you. We can fix this." Matt doesn't pull away immediately. For a brief second, I wonder if he'll cave, if the years of history between them will override the truth. But then he exhales sharply, shaking his head. "A mistake?" His voice is eerily calm. "A mistake is forgetting an anniversary, leaving the oven on, calling someone the wrong name. This wasn't a mistake, Celeste. This was a choice." Celeste whimpers, shaking her head furiously. "No, Matt. You were never going to tell me, were you?" His voice cracks slightly. "You were just going to let me raise Dorian's child as my own." Gasps echo throughout the room. The last remnants of sympathy in the air vanish completely. Celeste crumbles. Matt turns toward the guests, running a hand over his face as if trying to scrub the humiliation away. He lets out a bitter laugh. "I won't marry a liar." The ballroom is deathly silent. Then, in a single, deliberate motion, he reaches up and rips off his boutonniere. The tiny flower falls to the floor, weightless compared to the bombshell that just dropped. Vivian surges forward. "Matt, you don't have to do this." Her voice is sharp, desperate. "She made a mistake, but we can handle this privately." Matt turns to her, his eyes blazing. "You knew, didn't you?" His words cut through the air like a knife. "That's why you tried to pay Alex to leave." Vivian falters. The guests murmur, their curiosity sharpening into full-blown judgment. Vivian regains her composure quickly, straightening her shoulders. "Darling, we were just trying to protect you." "Protect me?" Matt laughs dryly. "Or protect the family name?" Vivian says nothing, and that silence says everything. The dam finally breaks. Vivian steps back, her face tight with barely concealed fury. "We can fix this," she hisses. "We just need damage control." But it's already too late. Guests pull out their phones, discreetly recording every humiliating moment. I see one woman murmuring to another, shaking her head. A man whispers something to his wife, and she gasps audibly. Vivian watches it all, the realization dawning in her eyes. Her empire, her carefully crafted image, is crumbling right in front of her. Dorian, ever the coward, tries to slip away unnoticed. But someone in the crowd calls out, "Where are you going, Dad of the Year?" Laughter follows, but it's harsh and cruel. Celeste, still trembling, whirls toward Matt, her desperation morphing into rage. "You don't understand!" she shrieks, her voice cracking. "I did this for us." Matt scoffs. "For us?" He gestures wildly. "You slept with my brother-in-law and got pregnant. You lied to me for months. How exactly was any of this for us?" Celeste clenches her fists, her eyes flashing with fury. Then, in a final act of childish defiance, she grabs a champagne flute from the table and throws it to the ground. The glass shatters, mirroring the last pieces of her dignity. "I hate all of you!" she screams. No one flinches. No one comforts her. She's alone. I exhale slowly, watching the collapse unfold. This is the end of an era. The end of Celeste's reign over my life. The end of Vivian's control. The end of Dorian's ability to slither through the cracks untouched. I feel Zeke's small hand slip into mine, his fingers tightening around mine. He looks up at me, his bright eyes filled with quiet understanding. "Let's go, sweetheart," I whisper. Zeke nods. We turn, walking past the ruins of a once flawless wedding, stepping away from the chaos, away from the years of pain and manipulation. I don't look back. But as we reach the doors, I feel someone's gaze on me. I glance over my shoulder. Matt is watching me, regret flickering in his eyes. For a brief moment, I wonder if he regrets more than just Celeste. As we step out into the cool night air, I exhale slowly. It's finally over. But as we walk toward the exit, a familiar voice calls out from behind. "Alex, wait!" I stop. My entire body tenses, my fingers tightening around Zeke's hand. I turn slowly, already knowing who I'll see. Matt stands a few feet away, his tie loosened, his boutonniere missing, and the exhaustion written all over his face. The weight of the night has aged him in mere hours. His gaze flickers to Zeke for a second, before returning to me. Zeke shifts beside me, glancing up at me, waiting for a cue. I let out a slow breath. "What is it, Matt?" He exhales, running a hand through his disheveled hair. "I should have seen through her lies," he murmurs. "I should have treated you better when we were family." I cross my arms, keeping my expression neutral. "You didn't want to see, that's the difference." A bitter chuckle escapes him. "Yeah," he says, shaking his head. "I didn't." Silence stretches between us, thick with the weight of too many things left unsaid. Finally, he looks back at me. "I don't expect forgiveness, but thank you for showing me the truth." A lump forms in my throat, but I swallow it down. This isn't my burden to carry anymore. Zeke steps forward, looking up at Matt with those sharp, observant eyes of his. "You deserved better, too," he says softly. Matt's shoulders sag slightly, his expression unreadable. But I see something shift in his gaze, like he's finally realizing how much he's lost. I reach down, taking Zeke's hand again. It's time. Matt watches us for a long moment. Then, as if realizing there's nothing left to say, he asks, "Where will you go?" I give him a small, knowing smile. "Forward." And with that, I turn away. I don't look back. We step out onto the sidewalk, the cool night air wrapping around us. For the first time in years, I feel lighter. Zeke squeezes my hand. "Are we finally free, Mom?" I look down at him, exhaling deeply, letting every painful memory, every betrayal, and every weight I've carried for too long leave with my breath. "Yes, baby," I whisper. "We are." As we step into the waiting cab, I glance back at the hotel one last time. "Goodbye, Whitmores." 3 months later, I stand in front of the cafe's employee board, adjusting the small metal name tag pinned to my uniform. Assistant manager. The letters gleam under the overhead light, and for a moment, I just stare at them, letting the reality sink in. I made it. A warm hand clasps my shoulder. I turn to see Lisa, one of the senior baristas, grinning at me. "You deserve this, Alex," she says. "No one works harder than you." A soft chuckle escapes me. "Well, 10 years behind the counter had to lead somewhere, right?" She shakes her head. "Number this isn't just because of time served. This is because you're damn good at what you do." I smile, feeling something I haven't felt in a long, long time. Stability. The bell above the cafe door jingles, and before I even turn around, I hear the familiar, excited voice. "Mom, look!" Zeke bursts inside, his backpack slung over one shoulder, waving a sheet of paper like it's a winning lottery ticket. I take it from his hands, smoothing it out. A plus. Pride swells in my chest. I ruffle his hair, watching as he beams up at me. "My hero and a straight A student? What did I do to deserve you?" He grins, his confidence unwavering. "You raised me." My throat tightens, emotions creeping up before I can stop them. I kneel, pulling him into a tight hug. "You make me so proud, sweetheart." Zeke squeezes me back, his voice muffled against my shoulder. "I just did what you always do, Mom. I didn't let anyone tell me I wasn't good enough." I blink rapidly, swallowing past the lump in my throat. I don't deserve him. But God, I'll spend the rest of my life proving that I do. Later that evening, as I'm sifting through the mail, my hands stilling when I see it. A cream-colored envelope with gold lettering, Vivian Whitmore's handwriting. I sit at the small kitchen table, tearing it open with careful precision. Inside, a single card. No elaborate apology, no drawn-out justifications. Just 5 words. "I was wrong about you." I stare at it, waiting to feel something. Satisfaction, vindication, closure. But all I feel is exhaustion. I let out a slow breath, flipping the card between my fingers. Then, without a second thought, I crumple it in my fist and drop it into the trash. Some things aren't worth holding on to. That night, I tuck Zeke into bed, pulling the covers up to his chin. He looks up at me, thoughtful, his eyes filled with the kind of quiet wisdom that only children seem to have. Do you think we'll be okay now, Mom? I brush a lock of hair from his forehead, pressing a kiss to the top of his head. We already are. His eyes flutter closed, his breath evening out. I step to the doorway, flicking off the light. As I stand there, watching the slow, steady rise and fall of his chest, a thought drifts into my mind, warm and unshakable. We fought for this life, and we always will be. As I stand in the quiet of my home, watching Zeke sleep peacefully, I can't help but reflect on everything we've been through. Life has a way of testing us, pushing us to our limits, and sometimes making us question our own worth. But if there's one thing I've learned, it's this. We are not defined by the people who try to break us. We are defined by how we rise after they do. For years, I allowed others to dictate my value. I let their words, their judgments, and their power make me feel small. But the truth is, no one has the right to tell you who you are or what you deserve. Not your family, not society, not the voices in your head that whisper doubt in the quiet moments. Your worth isn't up for debate. If you're going through a season of struggle, if you feel like the world is against you, hear me when I say this. Keep going. Stand your ground. Hold your head high. The people who try to dim your light are often the ones who fear your strength the most. And one day, when you refuse to break, you'll realize that the life waiting for you on the other side of the pain is one you deserve. And if this video touched you in any way, if it made you think or even made you feel something deep inside, let me know by commenting 1 below or telling me where you're watching from. If you disagree or see things differently, I want to hear that too. Don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next story. Because life is full of lessons, and sometimes the most powerful ones come from the people who have lived them. Until next time, stay strong, stay true to yourself, and never let anyone tell you that you are less than what you are.